Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my Back to Basics series within the larger context of my deep dive into the Thoth Tarot. The tarot created by Lady Frida Harris and Harris-Crowley. And friends, just in case you are new here, why do I call this my Back to Basics series? Well, it's because I have limited myself to a total of 3 tarot cards and 2 oracle cards for this spread. Those of you who know me know that I have for a long period of time been focusing on large, massive numbers of cards all laid out together and reading them together. And it's been a very interesting thing to focus on a small number, and I think it's helpful for me and hopefully for you in our exploration of the Thoth Tarot. So, friends, I've got a spread already laid out for us, but before we get to the spread, I'd like to ask you, have you ever heard of or thought about or been exposed to the idea thoughts become things? Have you heard that before? If you have, what do you think about it? Do you agree? If you agree, this is a perfect spread for you. If you do not agree, let's think about this for a moment. Now, what do we mean when we say thoughts become things? There are a couple of different ways of understanding that same idea. Yeah? Consider our interpretation of reality. Yeah, our thoughts about reality create our personal experience of the universe around us and the people that we engage with. In that sense, we create our own reality by our interpretation of it. Also, think of the inventor. Think of everything that we have around us. How did those things come into being? They began with thoughts, right? And those thoughts, those ideas, those visions became things. Those are 2 very, very basic, and I think everyone can agree on, concepts surrounding thoughts becoming things. But there are other ways of understanding them, yeah? We also place our thoughts on a powerful current of the river of intention. Those thoughts are virtual, are vibrational creations of future experiences that we evolve into the beings who will have. Does that make sense? Can you understand that? Yeah? Vibrationally, we create our future through imagination, through exploration of things in the universe, things that we like, things that we don't like. We create a future, we create futures that we place out on our river of intention. And as we move with the powerful flow of intention, we evolve into the beings who will have those experiences. And in that sense also, our thoughts become things, right? And I think this week's spread is all about our thoughts becoming our experiences, our thoughts becoming things, whatever those things might be. Those things could be a job or a job that we are currently in and it becoming something a little bit more pleasing to us, or much more pleasing to us. It could be our homes. Yeah, we might move into a new home, or we might recreate the home that we are living in one way or another, energetically recreating it into a place that feels more loving, more welcoming, more vibrant, or redecorating, or there are so many possibilities. Relationships, a new relationship, a current relationship that is revitalized or is transformed, evolves. Yeah, it could be around something that we want to create in the physical world, food, art, a chair, anything, right? Our thoughts become things. And this week, we're going to explore that idea in this wonderful little spread that I'm going to show you in just a moment. So friends, strap in. What will I do? I will show you the spread. We'll talk about what it is especially for those of you who might be newcomers. And then I will look at the two large chunks of the spread and read them together. Are you all ready? Here's the spread right now. Friends, if you were here last week, you've seen this spread, well, these two decks before. Not this spread, but the decks that I used in this spread before. Yeah? Actually, if you've been following along, one of the decks, the Oracle deck at the bottom, you've seen a lot, right? That is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. It's a wonderful Oracle, especially if you want to infuse your reading with a little bit more astrology, because this is an astrologically based oracle, and it's mass market. It's a wonderful thing to have, and there will be a link in the description box below if you want to go get that. Also, the tarot deck above, the Thoth based deck, is also mass market and available. It is the Cosmic Tribe, and I used that last week as well. So that is also going to have a link in the description box below. You can get both of these decks. Highly recommend them. And just in case this is the first time you've seen this spread with me, let me tell you that this is a positional spread. Yeah, the three cards at the top give us three prompts, left to right. We start off with the significance, and that is the significant answer to the question that I pose every time I lay the spread, which is, how can we live our lives more intentionally in the coming weeks? So that first card is the main response. The second card is the challenge, and that challenge can be positive or negative. Positive in the sense of something we are striving for, we are reaching for, we want to attain, or something a little bit more negative in the sense of a challenge that is an obstacle or something to overcome or a difficulty. And then the third card is advice. That's simple, right? And speaking of advice, the two cards below from the Oracle deck also give us either advice or a recapitulation, a restatement of the spread above. This time, I think we're going for advice again. So, friends, what are we going to do? We'll look at the three cards above, and then we'll look at the two cards below, and we'll be done for the day. Okay? So here we go. Here are the Thoth-based decked cards right now. You just saw from left to right, my friends, that we had three cards in order: the Six of Swords, the Prince of Earth, Discs, I should say, the Prince of Discs, and the Four of Discs. Now, I told you that this set of cards is from a deck called the Cosmic Tribe Tarot, and I consider it a Thoth-based tarot deck, even though it lacks some information on the cards that I would prefer to see there. It lacks the astrological associations, so you've got to know those. It also lacks titles, which are in the book, which is interesting, but it does lack the titles on the cards. So, you gotta either use the book and memorize them or wing it, I guess. But after using the Thoth Tarot for a while, I've got a lot of these titles already stored up here in the noggin. So that helps a lot. So if you were here last week, did you recognize one of these cards? Yeah? The first card, the Six of Swords, was in the same place last week, which is interesting and significant. So we're starting off this week, just like last week, with this wonderful Six of Swords card. Yeah? And that's the significant answer to the question of how can we live our lives more intentionally in the coming week. We want to be more Six of Swords-y, Six of Swords-ish, Six of Swords-esque. Yeah? Six of Swords. Now, the Six of Swords in the Thoth Tarot is associated with Mercury in Aquarius, which means that we have the mutable aspect of fixed air's vital attributes entering our natal charts, entering the reading, the spread that we have here. So we've got Mercury in Aquarius, which means it's the second decade of Aquarius for me. Yeah? The first decade of Aquarius would be Saturn, which is the natural domicile of Aquarius, which is naturally domiciled in Aquarius. The second is the Gemini, the decade of Aquarius, which gives us Mercury. And then the third decade of Aquarius would be Libra, bringing in Virgo. But we don't have Virgo, we have Mercury, giving us the Gemini decade of Aquarius. So because it's the second decade, we also have a complement, which is Saturn in Cancer, which is interesting. Because Cancer is the home. The moon is domiciled in. It's the domicile of the moon. Yeah? And the moon is going to spring up powerfully in the oracle cards below. So keep that in mind. Yeah? Here we have the Six of Swords. And the title for the Six of Swords, Mercury in Aquarius, is Science, which is a wonderful title. But it's not maybe the kind of science that we, or at least I, would naturally land on when I just think of the word science. I would think of experiments, and I would think of theories, and I would think of laws, and I would think of hypotheses and confirming hypotheses. And maybe a little bit of that is in this card. What does Crowley say? Crowley says that we have a requirement for measured evaluation, which is a little bit in this area of science, right? Measured evaluation. We want calm and measured approaches, and that kind of approach will be helpful to our approach to a problem as well. Yeah, so we want to approach problems with a calm and measured frame of mind. Not panicking, not, oh, I gotta get this figured out, not frustration. We want to be calm. We don't want to rush. We don't want to try and hurry to a solution. We want to take a measured approach, investigating, finding interest in it, perhaps even. We want to take time and observe what's growing and also what is not. Right? If something is not growing, we can let that pass by us. We can give it less attention and give more attention to the things that seem to be growing, things that seem to be rooting and springing up for us, whether they be things that we want or things that we don't want, right? If something that we don't want is not growing, that's great. If something that we don't want is growing, it would benefit from our attention, not our obsession. We don't want to obsess over it. We want to give it our attention and realize, there is something growing in my experience that I am not desiring, that I do not desire. So what does that mean? That means I desire something else. How can I shift my attention from what is growing in my experience that I don't want to something that I do want? And how can I feed that? How can I nurture and nourish that? Does that make sense? So we have all of that possibility here. So what are the patterns? Yeah, what patterns are connected and what are not? You notice the pattern down here, right? The pattern at the bottom of the card with a bunch of swords. Some pointing up, some pointing down. Some wanted, some unwanted. Some rising from below, some coming down from above. It's a very interesting card. Now, we have the air up there very clearly indicated with those clouds and the blue sky, but we have the earth here too. And Crowley suggests that we have an adaptable spirit. Now, the creator of this deck in particular shifts the title of the card a little bit by calling it Interpreting Worlds. So it's that scientific inquiry aspect of science, I believe, that the creator of this deck is pointing towards. And the creator of the Cosmic Tarot suggests that uncommon and exceptional experiences are going to be available to us in this coming week. And because they are uncommon and exceptional, they are probably going to be they're going to ask of us great energy. Yeah? Whether they're wonderful and they ask of us a rise of exuberance and activity, or something unwanted, yeah? Uncommonly unwanted or exceptionally unwanted, and that could drain us emotionally as well, right? And because of that, we want to be gentle with ourselves. We want to honor our experiences. We want to take care of ourselves, do some self-care as we have these uncommon and exceptional experiences. And if those uncommon and exceptional experiences are of people who seem very ignorant to us, we want to allow those experiences and those ideas and that ignorance to just flow past us. We don't want to resist it. We don't want to fight against it. We don't want to fix it. We want to allow that ignorance to pass us by. But we don't want to ignore it either. What do I mean? If it's, for example, if it's one person being blatantly ignorant about something, we don't want to try and fix them now. We don't want to try and change them now. We don't want to take their ignorance on either. We want to let their ignorance and their ideas just pass us by. However, if we notice that there are a lot of people, if society seems to be in discord with us in some way, we want to pay attention to that. It could be an indication of several things, right? It could be an indication that maybe our interpretation is a little messed up. So we might want to be looking at we might want to look at our interpretation of the situation that we have a different opinion on, or we have a different understanding of. Or they could be all screwed up. But what does that mean? Does that mean we want to extract ourselves from society as a general whole? Do we want to find a different society to engage with? Or do we want to find a way to negotiate, to navigate this environment of difference? There are many possibilities, and I know that I've barely scratched the surface of them. If you've got any other ideas, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. But here, so we've got the Six of Swords, yeah? We want to honor ourselves and our experience. We want to let others' ignorance pass us by, but if we notice that we are in discord with society as a whole, we want to pay attention to that. Not saying that we're wrong necessarily, or that society is wrong necessarily. But we want to pay attention to that. And we want to be available to unconventional and exceptional experiences. And if there's a problem, we want to approach it rationally, in a measured way. We want to notice what is growing, wanted or unwanted. Let those things that are not growing, we don't want to force something that we want that is not growing right now to grow, damn it, grow. That's not going to be a beneficial use of our energy. Does that make sense? So that's where we start with this. The Six of Swords is the way for us to live more intentionally in the coming week. And that leads us to a very interesting card, which is the Prince of Discs. Now the Prince of Discs, Earth, right? The princes are air. Now, so this is air of Earth. We brought that air from science into the earth, which is good, because air and earth are elementally ill-dignified, which means that they are in tension, they are potentially antagonistic. Yeah? They're in opposite directions of a spectrum. And having them side by side can cause repellence, can cause conflict, can cause obstacles. But this is the challenge card, right? So you might first think that, earth and air, the challenge is a negative challenge. However, the prince card, being air of earth, is able to meld those two together. And so because of that, I see that this Prince of Discs is the amelioration, it is the integration of those conflicting elements. Does that make sense? Now, because of this, we have Taurus, which is the home of Venus, right? And remember I said that Venus is a potential planet for Aquarius. The third decanate of Aquarius would be the Libra decanate of Aquarius. Here we have we just have Taurus, but we have Venus here again. So we have fixed Earth's vital attributes entering our reading. So we've gone from the mutable aspect of fixed air to just plain old fixed Earth entering our reading. Crowley, you probably already know, has associated all of the court cards with the I Ching, the hexagrams. And he associates this card with hexagram 53, which is Qian, something like that, probably Qian, which is gradual advice or development, right? Wind above mountain. Wind being air, mountain being earth. Wind above mountain. So, planned, staged, stepped organization of affairs towards a long-term goal. So that Six of Swords, that science, that investigation and openness to uncommon experiences here brings us to the challenge of recognizing that it might not be a quick development of things. Those things that are growing might not grow all that quickly. This could be a long-term process that we are engaging with. Crowley points to this card and says that there is a benefit to bringing slow adaptation, performing reality checks, and repurposing of circumstances to an intended goal. Yeah, check the clarity of the goal as well. Because this is going to be a long process, that goal, now, those of us who are engaged with living an intentional life realize that the idea of a goal is a human construct. There are no goals. Yeah? There's no goal as in this is the end, this is the conclusion, this is where we're trying to this is a place we're trying to reach and then we are done. There are no goals like that. There are milestones, there are things which manifest and we can appreciate and celebrate those, but that's not really a goal. Yeah? So rather than goal, we want to check the clarity of the direction that we are heading in, because this is the long game. This is the long play. This is the eternal game, actually. So, as we are bringing slow adaptation, performing reality checks, and repurposing the circumstances that we are engaging with to our benefit towards moving in the direction of our powerful flow of intention, we also want to check reality. Are we moving in the direction of our intention? And here we've got this beautiful dancer here, right? Perfectly balanced. I should have given you a nudity warning here already. Probably I will have put something in the video earlier. But yeah, there's a nude guy here. Beautiful nude guy, but there's a nude guy here, and I hope you're okay with that. Crowley points to this card and says that there's an abundance of resources. Yeah, adaptability to circumstances, planning to match resources and skills, knowledge and experience. We want to match all of those things to move in the direction that we want to go. And you see that at the bottom of this dancer's feet, there is a snake coiled around, indicating not only an Ouroboros even, but the unending spiral of time. Right? And the dancer here in the center, poised and dancing the dance within that spiral of eternal time and knowledge, the snake of knowledge, of time, of infinity. And we notice the tree growing behind the dancer, right? The dancer himself is beautifully decorated. This is a gorgeous card. Now, the creator of this card also recommends that we feel the body. How does it want to move and express itself? So what are we doing? Where and how are we using space? The creator of this deck suggests that we let the earth guide us. So, as we bring mind into matter, as we do the work of creation, as we recognize the long game, as we recognize that this is an eternal dance of balance, checking where we're going, checking the resources, bringing things together, our skills and the resources, our knowledge and our experience, all coming together, not for an instant of creation, but for the long game of continued manifestation. We also want to check in with the body. How do we want to move here? And what are we doing? Where are we doing it? How are we taking up space and how are we using space? And let the earth guide us forward. That is the challenge for us right now. Moving from that rationality of the Six of Swords card, also being gentle with ourselves and acknowledging ourselves and our experiencing and honoring our experience. Here, we let ourselves be guided by this wonderful dance in the material universe, right? And then we got this next card, which is a beautiful Four of Discs, which is the card of power. Now that's the title of this card for Crowley, Power. And we have the sun in Cancer here. And people with sun in Cancer understand the power of structure and order in matter. They understand how to move up the mountain of success, how to succeed, how to create, how to manifest in cooperation with people around them. But it's their journey. And they recognize their power and the power of the mountain that they're moving up. So for Crowley, this is the card of manifestation, integrity, and character. The ability to organize and make arrangements. That's their advice. Yeah? Recognize our ability to organize and make arrangements. We want to maintain our character and our integrity as we manifest. We want to be able to negotiate and form agreements and form accords with other people. We don't want to be stationary, but we want to be in movement. Remember this guy? We want to be in movement. That's the continued advice here. We want to check our friends, make sure that we are good with people. If there are any disagreements or debts, we want to settle those so that we can work together to move in the same direction. And then the necessary power that we have will be gained. We want to be dependable. The creator of this deck, this beautiful card, you see this human arising up from these four stones here, which indicate the four elements of Western matter, right? Fire, water, air, earth. In the Crowley deck, or in the deck created by Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley, the Four of Discs card has what looks like a castle with very similar 4 large towers at the corners. And that indicates a way of communicating with the divine, of bringing divine power here into manifestation as power, right? And we see the human rising up in this card with the disc of all of the elements above their heads. And so the creator of this deck says our work creates a stable environment for ourselves and for others. So what do we depend on? And what do we sacrifice to maintain our environment? Now, what are we depending on? What are the resources we require to be able to do the work, to be able to use that power? And what are we sacrificing in order to create what we are in the process of creating? Everything we create is a choice. We choose to create this instead of that. Now, that we might eventually create sometime in the future, but at this moment we're sacrificing other possibilities, other potentials for the creation of this thing now, right? So, what are we sacrificing in order to do this, to maintain our environment and to do the work of manifestation? We want to recognize that. That's advice too. And we want to honor ourselves for our work. So that's a lot of advice here, right? Yeah? Be good with other people. Organize what we're doing and make arrangements. Do so with our own integrity and our character. Be sure that we're good with other people. Be sure that we are not stationary, but in movement as we manifest. And honor ourselves and the work that we're doing. And recognize those resources that we're using and the choices that we're making. Right? That's a lot of advice, but I think it's pertinent for this engagement of science in the process of manifesting into the material realm. That makes sense, yes? Don't you think? I think so. So friends, those are the 3 cards. We have 2 cards from the Oracle deck to take a look at, and I will show you those cards right now. The 2 cards we have are both lunar based, right? I mentioned that we had the complement of Saturn in Cancer, Cancer being the home of the moon, is the domicile of the moon. So here we have 2 cards, right? The moon in, what is this called? The moon in, it's not Venus, it's Virgo. The moon in Virgo, and then we had the moon in Aquarius, right? We had Mercury in Aquarius as our first card, science, and here we have the moon in Aquarius, which is also interesting. So that highlights that Aquarian, the science thing, as being the primary answer to our question, how can we live our life more intentionally in the coming week? So that independence, that that future seeing Aquarian, the seeing the direction of innovation and liberality of social reform, of advancement, of progressiveness, of progression. All of those things are Aquarian things, right? It's the movement forward. So, the first card we've got is not movement forward so much, right? It's order. You'll notice that even though these are both the moon, we have 2 different numbers, right? We have 6 and 11. 6 is the number for Virgo, and 11 is the number for Aquarius. in this deck. Well, also it's the order of the zodiacal year as well. So order. This card you see above, there are plants and symbols which indicate the order in the natural world. And below you see a brocade, which is a symbol for patient and delicate work, but also order in the human world, in the human-made world, right? So we have both of the human and nature together, their versions of order, both indicated in this card. And what does that mean? So we have sincerity, modesty, and quiet expression through Virgo. Now the moon in Virgo. We have slow emotions in practical and material ways. Now we want to, when we express our emotions, rather than violent and hot ways, we want cool, practical, material ways of expressing ourselves emotionally. And it could be anything. It could be food. Do we prepare food for other people? Now that could be an emotional way for us to express our emotions in very practical ways. Yeah, my care for you I express with providing food and nourishment for you, a little bit like the Queen of Pentacles in the Smith-Waite deck. We think of that kind of thing, right? We want to maintain order and consistency. We want to find balance. We want to find emotional well-being. We want to be careful of perfectionism. Yeah, that's always a tripping point for Virgos, right? Perfectionism and becoming overly critical. But if we can avoid that and we maintain our balance, maintain our emotional well-being, we'll be good. We might want to clean up our work systems, have good, efficient routines as well, and a healthy lifestyle. Those will all benefit us because those cards above, remember, they have the potential of asking of us a great amount of energy. So we have those suggestions already of self-care, taking care of your body, making sure that we feel the body and how it wants to move and express itself. So here we're asked to have a healthy lifestyle. Find good and efficient routines, things that give us time to complete what we want to complete and have time for other things as well. Not get bogged down in complicated or disorganized work systems, clean it up and then do the work, right? That's the first step of our advice. Be good Virgos. Practically expressing our emotions. And that's paired with this card of independence. Yeah, 11, moon in Aquarius. And above we see an Egyptian royal figure. And around that royal figure we have, around the figure up above in the air, we have kind of a map of Stonehenge. And below, here at the bottom, we have a drawing of, I think it's called menhirs of Carnac, menhirs of Carnac in France, which is similar to Stonehenge, and it measures the cycles of the sun and the moon. It was like a stone calendar. At least that's the idea. Which is, so we got that idea of circles, of cycles of time, kind of like the dancer with the snake at his feet in The Prince of Discs, right? And here we have what? The need to complete freedom of expression of our feelings. So we want to express them practically. We want to express them in a material way, but we also want to be free to express them. right? So these two cards, order and independence together, give us that, yes, express emotions practically, materially, but be free to do so. We want our physical and emotional freedom to come and go, to do what we want to do, to become who we want to be. We might have many friends, we might have many contacts and a lot of conversation, and that's okay. That's good. We don't want our emotions to be pent up. We want to let go of them. We want to allow our feelings to express themselves without rationalizing. So there's a difference between rationalizing our emotions and expressing them in material and practical ways. Yeah, we don't want to rationalize the emotions. We want to express them slowly, calmly, physically. I'm not saying go out and hit people, but express them in material ways. And we want to allow help. We can get help in unconventional ways here. Now remember, we had that idea, unconventional, uncommon experiences entering our lives this week through the Six of Swords. Here we are also able to have help from unconventional, unexpected, uncommon quarters. Yeah? We can get help from people we wouldn't expect to get help from situations we wouldn't expect to get help from, if we allow it. And that's here too. So express ourselves physically, creatively, materially, not rationally. But we use our mind to create, right? We still use our minds to create. We just don't want to use our minds to figure things out emotionally. We want to express them and let them go. Does that make sense? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And friends, I'd like to thank you. Now we're here at the time of thanks. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And thank you for hitting the thumbs up button and for subscribing to the channel and for also commenting below. I really, really deeply appreciate all of those things. It's joyful for me, and it also helps other people. It helps other people find this channel. So thank you for doing those things. And if you want a reading from me, my email address is below, thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email, we'll get you a reading. Or in the comments below, you can also say, I want a reading, we'll get that for you too. We'll find a way for us to hook up and do that for you. Okay? So friends, thank you. Thank you very much. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.